today?
I am good. Fired up.
First Comicon?
Second.
What was your first?
Second. My first one was Underworld.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my first one was Underworld, and it was a great opportunity for me because I always knew I would come back. I just didn't know in what capacity, and so it's even better this time, obviously. Yeah.
So this is an interesting role because you have to sort of skirt an edge between being almost not human, but being human enough that your other characters are sort of, kind of freaked out by an android having so many feelings. How are you approaching this sort of like, I have to be other but not at the same time?
I'm trying to approach this character with a certain fearlessness that I've garnered really from Joel. My first meeting with him about the character was 3 hours, and I've never had a meeting last that long. And one of the things that we talked about was, his confidence in what I can do and where I can go with this character and what I can bring to it was just very reassuring, to be honest with you. It was quite astounding, and that ultimately just let me kind of breathe a little bit, and so I don't feel restricted. I don't feel like I can't come to him, and I talk to him all the time about how to make Dorian who he is, and a lot of it was on the page. I give him a lot of credit because a lot of it was on the page. It's kind of what drew me to the project.
What attracted you to this role?
I think first and foremost was probably the script, the material itself, the pedigree of the producers didn't hurt at all. You kind of feel confident knowing these guys have been there, and they've got a couple of hits under their belt, and they know how to drive this ship. And when you're signing up for a potentially large commitment that is television, 22 episodes, 5 seasons or more, that's a large commitment. You really need to know that the people driving the ship have a license. And J.J. Abrams, Joel Wyman, they got a license. They got a big one.
Sorry. Where do you see the evolution of your character plus Carl Urban's character, John? Where do you see that going in the course of the season?
Probably going to beat him up a couple times. I think it's funny because people, the way I've seen the show described on the page in reviews and stuff like that is a buddy cop. I don't think we've earned that yet, and I think we need to be given the time to earn that because we have a man and we have a machine, and can they really be? Can they be buddy cops? I don't think so right now. I think we have to earn that. I think we have to develop a relationship. We have to develop a trust in order to be buddy cops. And you got to go through some stuff before you can develop that kind of trust. And we don't have that yet. So hopefully by the end of the first season we'll be one step closer to being a buddy cop drama.
Are you personally a sci-fi fan?
No.
No. So this is a new.
I love Star Wars growing up. I didn't watch Star Trek the show. I love. Hey, kick my chair again. Kick my chair one more time. I love the Star Trek movies now, and I loved them back when Ricardo Montalban was playing Khan. So those were great. But like I've never really been like an avid fan of sci-fi, and even this show has kind of changed me in that because it's set in the future, in the near future. I start thinking about like if I have kids, they're going to be living. They could potentially be living in this world. So all of a sudden, instantly, this world has become so much more compelling to me because this is the world that my kids could technically grow up in. So my interest in sci-fi has peaked, and
I kicked it up.
so now I'm very interested. I'm much more in tune with what's happening.
Yeah, there's a few. Sorry, you go ahead. there's a humor aspect that we find in Dorian. How's that played out with the way that you've done your past characters that you're going into now with this particular character?
You know, I mean,
Because it is a pretty serious show, has a serious aspect to it. So I find Dorian kind of lightens up the mood a little bit between with Kenneth. So yeah.
I think there's a lot of truth in the comedy, and I think Dorian finds his sense of humor is evolving, you know, there's a moment in the trailer where he's just come out of the lab and he's making noises and stuff with his mouth, and that moment was an accident. I was doing acting exercises before the tape, and Brad Anderson, our director, said, "Ealy, do that after action." I thought genius. It just felt genius. And it's those kind of little accidents, those kind of moments that I think, like, the audience found that funny, but it wasn't intended. It wasn't written. It's not a joke. It's more inadvertent. But it's just, he was being truthful.
Are you doing that a lot of improving? And you find yourself finding that you're doing
No, not a lot of improving. I really trust Joel. I trust Joel and what's on the page, and we make it work.
How much do you enjoy the sort of action scene, and how much
now we're gonna
is
do
in store, do you know?
How much what?
Action?
I've been told, I've been promised that we will be doing a lot of action. It's harder, obviously, once you start shooting episodes, because you just don't have all the time to do a great deal of action, or as much as you did in the pilot. But I think part of the appeal of the show is the relationships of the characters, the technology that you will see that we don't have. I mean, we just don't have it, and yet our prop department just makes this stuff up. It's genius. And then third is the action. So ultimately, you know, I think we have to sustain those three for a long time in order to really kind of keep our audience in it.
Your character seems to be very, I mean, not just he has emotions, but he seems to be very intuitive about the emotions of the people around him. So, and he's been on sleep for a while, so where do you think he's coming from, having to basically wake up and deal with John and his just intense hatred of sleep?
Here's what I'll say. I don't know if he's intuitive yet, so much as he is observant. And I think in observing human behavior, he finds himself in need of those kinds of emotions, and he's curious. And especially in the second episode, you'll see a lot more of his curiosity about, well, what's he feeling right now? And what does that mean? And how does that feel? And how do I get it? You know what I mean? And that's, it's somewhat childlike in its innocence, but at the same time, I find it refreshing, you know, because the humanity that we all take for granted, that we all just kind of walk through life, we can get desensitized by a lot of things and forget what it's like to be human. And Dorian spends every day seeking out that humanity, that intangible thing that really makes us what we are as humans.
In the pilot, you made a comment that, or your character did, that good thing I really want to be a cop or else I wouldn't tolerate you. Why does Dorian really want to be a cop?
Dorian really wants to be a cop. He was designed to do it. And a lot of that is in his background. But if you know why he was decommissioned, which I can't say, it helps strengthen the logic behind why he wants to be a cop. I wish I could tell you. I do.
Okay.